There's a strange chemical reaction that happens the moment an American declares, "I'm on vacation." Common sense is left at home. Situational awareness gets checked with the luggage. What's left is a glorious, walking, talking disaster area. This isn't an attack, this is a mirror. We have compiled 101 exhibits of our most baffling behavior, a definitive catalog of dumb. Let's diagnose the symptoms. 1. Step off the plane into the tropics, and our brains just delete the concept of SPF. It's a bizarre, misplaced confidence that our office-dweller skin can handle the equatorial sun. Hours later, we're a walking medical warning, complaining that the sun is somehow hotter here than it is back home. 2. Here's a secret American technique. When faced with a language barrier, just say the same thing again, but with the volume of a jet engine. We need a taxi. It's a breathtakingly dumb strategy rooted in the belief that the other person isn't foreign, they're just hard of hearing. 3. Behold the American tourist uniform. Spotless white sneakers, a fanny pack worn with zero irony, and a souvenir shirt of the city they just landed in. It's a carefully curated look that screams to every scam artist in a 5-mile radius. My passport is in this very obvious pouch. 4. There's a special kind of unearned confidence in trying to pay for a gelato in Rome with a crisp $20 bill. We offer it like it's a golden ticket, then look genuinely betrayed when they refuse our magical paper. As if they're the ones being difficult. What is wrong with this picture? 5. Why spend thousands to fly to Paris only to get angry that it's not more like Ohio? It's a wild phenomenon. We're on a bizarre quest for authentic foreign experiences, as long as they feel exactly like a Chili's with a slightly better view. The disappointment when they don't is so real. 6. Nothing triggers an American's internal panic button like tipping in a non-tipping country. The mental gymnastics are intense. Is this an insult? Is not doing it an insult? We inevitably just panic throw a 30% tip on the table for a single espresso, leaving the barista confused and wealthy. 7. What is it about a somber, historical monument that makes us think, perfect selfie spot? It's a complete system failure of reading the room. A cheerful, smiling picture at a war memorial is a level of cluelessness that is honestly impressive. Seriously, who raised us? 8. You land in Rome, the home of carbonara and cacio e pepe, and your first thought is, I wonder if there's a McDonald's nearby. We treat the Golden Arches like an embassy, a safe harbor from the scary world of flavor. The mission for a Big Mac in a culinary capital is a special kind of dumb. 9. Checking in for a 4-day beach trip with enough luggage to suggest we're fleeing a civil war is a national pastime. 2 massive suitcases for a long weekend, filled with just-in-case outfits. Then we have the absolute nerve to act shocked and offended by the excess baggage fees. 10. The belief that the customer is always right is a religion we try to export. We'll complain that the wine in Bordeaux tastes too French, then demand to see a manager. The look of utter confusion on the waiter's face when we do this is a moment to be cherished forever. 11. We will learn exactly one foreign word, usually gracias or ciao, and then proceed to pronounce it with the most aggressive American accent imaginable. The confidence with which we absolutely butcher another language is a sight to behold. It's our gift to the world. 12. The desperate, frantic search for ice is a uniquely American quest. We act as if a room-temperature beverage is a violation of our human rights. The look of horror on our face when a drink arrives with no ice is as if we've just been served a glass of poison. It's a real crisis. 13. You can't help but overhear it. This castle is nice, but it's not as big as the Grand Canyon. Or, these mountains are tall, but you should see the Rockies. We have an uncontrollable urge to compare everything in the world to something bigger or better back in our home state. 14. Public transportation is treated with the same fear and suspicion as a wild animal. We'll stand staring at a simple subway map like it's ancient hieroglyphics, before giving up and paying 50 euros for a 5-minute taxi ride. The idea of just hopping on a bus is simply too chaotic. 15. The first time an American encounters a paid public toilet in Europe is a moment of profound cultural shock. Pay to use a restroom? The indignation is real. We'll spend 10 minutes complaining about the injustice of it all before begrudgingly finding a €1 coin. 16. There is a deep, irrational paranoia about drinking tap water anywhere outside the United States. We'll be in Switzerland, a country with water purer than a mountain spring, and still spend a fortune on bottled water because we're convinced the local tap will give us a medieval disease. 17. The concept of a dress code for a historic church is completely foreign. There we are, standing at the entrance to the Vatican in cargo shorts and a tank top, genuinely baffled that we're not allowed in. We act personally victimized by the suggestion we should cover our shoulders. 18. The confusion when we ask for a refill and get a bill for a second drink is a beautiful thing. The idea of free refills is so deeply ingrained in our souls that its absence feels like a personal attack. We thought this was a universal constant, like gravity. 19. We will complain about walking. A lot. A 10-minute walk from the hotel to a museum is treated like the Baton Death March. In a country built for cars, our legs are often our most neglected accessory, and we make sure everyone on vacation knows it. 20. The siesta is our mortal enemy. We cannot comprehend why a shop would close in the middle of the day. The sight of a locked door at 3 p.m. is met with angry confusion. We'll just stand there, rattling the handle, convinced it's a personal conspiracy against our shopping plans. 21. The almost religious pilgrimage to the local Hard Rock Cafe is a bizarre ritual. We travel 5,000 miles to a new country just to eat the same burger we can get in Orlando and buy a t-shirt that says Hard Rock Cafe Copenhagen. It's the ultimate badge of the unadventurous traveler. 22. Casually bringing up our own domestic politics with a foreign taxi driver or bartender is a strange habit. We assume everyone is as obsessed with our elections as we are. The blank, polite stare we get in return never seems to register. They just don't care. 23. Our demand for air conditioning is non-negotiable. We expect every single enclosed space, from a 15th century castle to a seaside shack, to be chilled to a brisk 68 degrees Fahrenheit. A hotel room with only a fan is considered a humanitarian crisis. 24. Trying to make friends with the stone-faced guards at Buckingham Palace is a rite of passage. We'll crack jokes, ask them about their day, and try to get them to smile, completely ignoring the fact that their entire job is to be a human statue. The one-sided conversation is painfully awkward. 25. We'll look at a map of Europe and say something like, okay, we can do Paris on Monday, Rome on Tuesday, and we'll squeeze in Berlin on Wednesday morning. This belief that an entire country with centuries of history can be done in a single day is peak American efficiency and peak touristdom. 26. Asking a tour guide at the Roman Colosseum. So, did the gladiators who lived here have to deal with this much traffic? It's the kind of question that breaks a historian's spirit. Our ability to ask questions that are completely disconnected from time, space, and logic is truly unmatched. 27. There's always one of us who thinks the do not touch signs in a museum are just a friendly suggestion. We have to be told not to put our hands on a 2,000-year-old statue. The urge to physically connect with history by smudging it with our fingerprints is apparently very strong. 28. Renting a car in a foreign country and then getting furious that everyone isn't driving on the right side of the road is a classic. We honk at people for following their own traffic laws, completely convinced that our way is the only way. It's a mobile display of our cultural awareness. 29. The sheer horror of a non-American breakfast. Where are the pancakes, the bacon, the eggs? The sight of a simple croissant and a piece of cheese is treated with deep suspicion. We act as if being denied a 3,000-calorie breakfast is a form of torture. 30. We have a crippling need to buy useless souvenirs. A miniature Eiffel Tower made of cheap plastic, a sombrero we'll never wear again, a snow globe from a country with no snow. Our homes are graveyards for dumb vacation purchases that seemed like a brilliant idea at the time. 31. The American road trip starts with a noble vow. We're only going to eat at unique local diners. 3 hours later, everyone is starving, cranky, and pulling into a Taco Bell drive-thru because it's familiar and nobody can agree on what local actually means. The dream dies quickly. 32. We'll drive 8 hours to a famous national park like Yellowstone, get out of the car, take one picture of a bison from 500 yards away, and then say, "All right, I've seen it. What's next?" The need to just check a box instead of actually experiencing a place is baked into our DNA. 33. There's always someone in the group who thinks they're an animal whisperer. They see a "Do not feed the alligators" sign in Florida and take it as a personal challenge. The belief that a wild animal will appreciate their bag of Doritos is a special kind of dumb that keeps park rangers employed. 34. Our approach to a Las Vegas buffet is not about enjoying food. It's about declaring war on the restaurant's profit margin. We pile plates high with a bizarre mix of crab legs, pizza, and Jell-O, driven by a primal need to get our money's worth. It's less a meal and more a financial strategy. 35. You see this at every major landmark. Someone will spend 10 minutes trying to get the perfect photo, like holding up the Leaning Tower of Pisa. They'll contort their body, direct their family, and ignore everyone else around them, all for a picture that's been taken 6 billion times. 36. We have a strange obsession with outlet malls. We'll be on vacation in a beautiful historic city like Charleston and spend an entire afternoon driving to a suburban wasteland to buy slightly discounted designer socks. The thrill of a bargain is more powerful than the allure of culture. 37. In any beach town, you can spot the person who just discovered mini-golf. They treat it with the seriousness of the Masters tournament. There are practice swings, intense arguments over the rules, and a level of competitive fire that is completely insane for a game involving a windmill. 38. The deep-seated belief that every museum in the world must have a dinosaur exhibit. You'll see someone in the Louvre ask with a straight face, "Okay, but where are the T-Rex bones?" as if it's a mandatory part of every cultural institution. 39. There's a deep-seated fear of using a hotel pool that isn't perfectly clear and smells faintly of chlorine. The idea of swimming in a natural lake or the ocean is met with terror. What about the fish? The seaweed? The unknown? Give us a concrete hole with chemicals any day. 40. We'll visit a city famous for its art scene, like Santa Fe, walk into a gallery, look at a piece of abstract art, and loudly proclaim, "My kid could paint that." It's our go-to critique for any art that doesn't look like a photograph. It never gets less cringy. 41. On a cruise ship, the first 24 hours are a frantic sprint to try every single activity. Rock climbing at 9 a.m., bingo at 10, belly flop contest at 11. It's a vacation fueled by FOMO, a desperate need to do everything on the schedule even if we're not enjoying any of it. 42. What is it about being on vacation that makes us forget how queues work? We'll be at Disney World, in a line that has its own zip code, and someone will inevitably try the "I'm just joining my family up there" maneuver, walking past hundreds of people who are silently hating them. 43. We have an almost pathological need to be comfortable. So we'll show up to a 5-star restaurant in New Orleans wearing sweatpants and a hoodie. Then we act surprised when the maitre d' looks at us like we just stumbled out of a dumpster. Dress codes are for other people. 44. The complete inability to disconnect from work is a classic. We're on a beautiful beach, the waves are crashing, and there's always one of us angrily typing on a laptop, shouting into their phone about synergizing our Q3 deliverables. We are truly experts at ruining our own relaxation. 45. Buying fireworks in a state where they're legal and then acting surprised when you blow something up or set the yard on fire is a time-honored tradition. Every 4th of July vacation involves someone underestimating the power of something called a mega banger. 46. We'll drive hundreds of miles to see a bizarre roadside attraction like the world's largest ball of twine. We'll stare at it for 30 seconds, say, "Huh," buy a postcard, and then drive away, completely satisfied with our cultural pilgrimage. The bar for what entertains us is sometimes very low. 47. The first sign of rain on a beach vacation sends us into a state of utter despair. We don't have a plan B. The entire trip is ruined. We'll just sit in the hotel room staring out the window, complaining that the weather forecast said it would be sunny, as if the meteorologist personally betrayed us. 48. There's a bizarre trust in the hotel ice machine. We'll ignore warnings about tap water in foreign countries, but have no problem eating frozen water that came out of a strange, loud box in the hallway of a Motel 6. The logic is non-existent. 49. Why do we feel the need to tell everyone our life story? The person sitting next to us on the plane, the bartender, the tour guide? We'll unload decades of personal information onto complete strangers who are just trying to do their jobs. Our internal privacy filter has an off switch. 50. Making that solemn promise to create a beautiful photo scrapbook. In reality, those 2,000 photos will die a slow death on a memory card, never to be seen again. The vacation scrapbook is the most beautiful lie we tell ourselves. 51. The absolute terror of a small coffee. We'll be in Italy, get served a perfect espresso, and stare at it in disbelief. The phrase, "Excuse me, I think there's been a mistake," has definitely been uttered. We need our coffee in a bucket, or it doesn't count as a real drink. 52. There's a bizarre obsession with getting a rental car upgrade. Two people going on a trip to wine country will end up in a 9-passenger SUV. Then they complain about parking and gas mileage for the entire trip. It's a victory that immediately turns into a self-inflicted punishment. 53. Our blind faith in GPS is a dangerous thing. We will follow that soothing digital voice directly into a farmer's field, a pedestrian-only street, or even a lake. The thought, "Maybe the phone is wrong," only occurs after the car is already stuck in the mud. It's never our fault. 54. We'll visit a place like New Orleans, famous for its unique Creole cuisine, and then spend 45 minutes trying to find a place that serves chicken tenders for the one person in the group who doesn't like spicy food. The dedication to culinary cowardice is almost admirable. 55. The vacation expert is a fun character. This is the person who read one travel blog and now acts as a tour guide. They'll confidently announce historical facts that are completely wrong and lead the group on a 2-hour walk to a hidden gem that closed in 2012. 56. The absolute fury of getting a rental car that isn't an automatic. The panic of seeing a stick shift and 3 pedals is a uniquely American experience. We treat it like we've been given a horse and buggy instead of a car. 57. Watch an American try to parallel park in a tight European city. It's a feature-length film of anxiety and failure. There's yelling, frantic wheel turning, and usually ends with them just giving up and parking illegally 3 blocks away. It's a national weakness. 58. What is it about a hotel breakfast buffet that turns us into hoarders? We'll smuggle pastries, hard-boiled eggs, and bananas in our bags like we're preparing for a nuclear winter. The goal is to avoid buying lunch later, even if it means eating a squash Danish at 3 p.m. 59. The shock and horror when a store is closed for a 2-hour lunch break is a sight to behold. We will stand at the locked door, rattling the handle, completely baffled by the idea that people in other countries actually stop working to eat. It feels like a personal insult. 60. That souvenir shot glass collection is a monument to bad decisions. Each one represents an overpriced, watered-down drink from a tourist trap bar. It sits in a dusty cabinet back home, a constant reminder of all the money we wasted trying to look like we were having fun. 61. Nothing says, "I'm on vacation," like getting into a screaming match with your family while trying to fold a beach tent. That thing popped open in 2 seconds, but getting it back in the bag requires an engineering degree and the patience of a saint, which we do not have. 62. We complain about tourist traps and then spend our entire vacation seeking them out. We know the restaurant on the main square is overpriced and terrible, but we go anyway. Then we complain about how it was overpriced and terrible. The cycle is unbreakable. 63. There's a special panic reserved for when a credit card gets declined overseas. It's not a minor inconvenience, it's the end of the world. We act as if we're about to be stranded and penniless forever, until we remember we have 3 other cards in our wallet. 64. The profound disappointment when we go to a famous beach and the water isn't a perfect Gatorade blue like it was in the brochure. We feel personally cheated. The idea that nature doesn't have an Instagram filter applied to it at all times is a tough pill to swallow. 65. The classic, "I'm not a tourist, I'm a traveler" speech. Usually delivered while wearing a fanny pack, holding a giant camera, and looking at a map of the city's most obvious tourist attractions. The lack of self-awareness is so thick you could cut it with a knife. 66. The complete mental breakdown when there's no Wi-Fi. We could be in the most beautiful, serene wilderness, but if we can't get a signal to post about it, does it even count? The desperate search for one bar of service is a modern American tragedy. 67. We have this habit of assuming everyone understands our obscure sports references. We'll be in a pub in Dublin and try to explain the NFL's playoff seeding to a bartender who could not possibly care less. The blank stare we receive in return is completely lost on us. 68. The obsession with finding ranch dressing is a national crisis. We will ask for it with our pasta in Italy, our sushi in Japan, our steak in Argentina. We truly believe the world would be a better place if everything was dipped in a creamy, buttermilk-based sauce. 69. Visiting New York City and just stopping dead in the middle of a crowded sidewalk to look up is a rite of passage. We become an immovable object in a river of angry, fast-moving people. It's the quickest way to learn new and creative curse words from actual New Yorkers. 70. The bizarre need to conduct a performance review of our own fun. We'll analyze if we optimized our relaxation or met our fun KPIs. This act of turning leisure into a stressful project is a special kind of self-sabotage. 71. Let's talk about hotel keycards. The sheer panic when it doesn't work on the first try is universal. We don't just try again. We jam it in and out with increasing fury, as if punishing the door for its insolence. The idea of calmly flipping it over occurs about 5 minutes later. 72. Overpacking for the weather is a high art form. You'll see someone in Miami, in July, pulling a heavy winter coat out of their suitcase just in case. The belief that a freak snowstorm might hit South Florida is a level of paranoid preparation that is uniquely our own. 73. There's a certain type of American who, upon arriving in a foreign country, immediately seeks out other Americans. They travel thousands of miles to escape home, only to spend the entire time in a bubble of familiarity, complaining about the locals with their new friends from Ohio. 74. What happens when we rent a boat for the day? Utter chaos. We overestimate our nautical skills, forget about the tide, and usually end up getting towed back to shore by a bored teenager. Our confidence on land does not translate to the water, and it's never our fault. 75. Trying to use a foreign washing machine is like trying to crack the Da Vinci Code. The bizarre symbols, the endless cycles. We just press a random button, hope for the best, and usually end up with shrunken clothes that are somehow still dirty. It's a laundry-based mystery. 76. The airport is a stage for our finest moments. You'll see someone arguing with a TSA agent that their 12-ounce bottle of shampoo is basically 3 ounces if you just squint. The laws of physics and federal regulations are mere suggestions when we're about to miss a flight. 77. Have you ever seen someone try to haggle at a department store in London? It's a breathtaking display of misplaced confidence. We treat every transaction like it's a negotiation at a flea market, then act deeply offended when the cashier just stares at us, completely bewildered. 78. The fear of a roundabout is real and profound. Confronted with a circular intersection, the American driver simply panics. We either stop completely, causing a pileup, or just close our eyes and gun it, hoping for the best. It's a system our brains refuse to compute. 79. Nothing baffles us more than a bidet. We stare at it with a mixture of fear and curiosity. Is it a drinking fountain? A weirdly shaped sink? The brave among us might try it, but the experience is usually so confusing, it's never spoken of again. It remains a bathroom enigma. 80. The end of trip currency exchange is a moment of pure comedy. We'll have a pocket full of useless foreign coins and try to convince the airport currency kiosk to give us 47 cents for them. The look of utter disdain from the employee is a vacation souvenir in itself. 81. You know the person who treats the hotel's continental breakfast like a grocery store? They'll systematically wrap up a dozen muffins, hard-boil a carton of eggs, and fill a water bottle with orange juice, all to save $10 on lunch. The commitment to the heist is impressive. 82. Asking for directions and then completely ignoring them is a classic move. We'll nod politely, say, "Thank you," and then immediately walk in the opposite direction because our gut tells us we know better than the person who has lived there their entire life. Our internal compass is always right. 83. The way we talk about jet lag, you'd think we were suffering from a terminal illness. We will moan about our sleep schedule for days, using it as an excuse for every dumb thing we do. Sorry I was rude to the waiter, my circadian rhythm is just all out of whack. 84. Ordering water and being genuinely shocked when a bottle of sparkling water arrives is a rite of passage. We then have to perform the awkward pantomime for no gas or flat water, as if we're describing the saddest beverage on earth. The struggle is real. 85. The desperate attempt to use high school Spanish from a decade ago is both brave and foolish. It usually results in us accidentally asking a waiter if he is pregnant instead of where the library is. The confidence of our delivery never matches the absurdity of our words. 86. The sheer volume at which we speak is a national characteristic. We don't have conversations in quiet museums or restaurants. We broadcast them. Our personal stories about our cousin's weird rash are shared with everyone in a 20-foot radius, whether they want to hear it or not. 87. There's always one person who dramatically underestimates the spiciness of local food. They'll confidently order the dish with 3 chili peppers next to it, take one bite, and then spend the next 20 minutes sweating, crying, and chugging milk like their life depends on it. 88. Why do we feel the need to document every single meal? Before anyone can eat, we have to take 15 pictures of the food from 6 different angles. The meal is cold by the time the photo shoot is over, but at least we got that perfect, unimpressive shot for Instagram. 89. The inability to relax without a schedule is deeply ingrained. We'll create a vacation itinerary that looks like a military invasion plan, with activities scheduled in 15-minute increments. The concept of just sitting and doing nothing is a foreign and terrifying prospect. 90. The whiplash-inducing complaint reversal on the flight home. After a week of moaning about the weird food and flat pillows, we suddenly mourn that the trip was too short. Our unique ability to be dissatisfied in every possible situation is truly remarkable. 91. The frantic, last-minute souvenir hunt is a spectacle of pure desperation. We'll ignore gift shops all week, then spend the last hour before our flight running through the airport, buying overpriced chocolates and a tacky snow globe. The gifts reek of poor planning and regret. 92. That moment of profound disappointment when you order a cheeseburger abroad and it arrives without a mountain of pickles, onions, lettuce, and tomato. We stare at the simple patty with cheese like it's a personal insult to our nation. 93. We have a deep distrust of any car smaller than a refrigerator. Renting a compact car in Europe is a constant source of anxiety. We complain about the lack of cup holders and feel genuinely unsafe without 2 tons of steel protecting us from the world. It just feels wrong. 94. The classic, "Does this bus go downtown?" shouted at a bus that has "downtown" written on it in giant letters. It's a moment where our brain's ability to process written information just completely shuts down. We need verbal confirmation for what is staring us right in the face. 95. Watch an American try to use a duvet cover without a top sheet. The confusion is palpable. Do you sleep on top of it? Under it? Why is it so fluffy? The battle with European bedding is a quiet, nightly struggle that often ends in a tangled mess of comforter and confusion. 96. We will stand in front of the Mona Lisa for 30 seconds, take a blurry photo over someone's shoulder, and then say, "Huh, it's smaller than I thought." Then we'll spend the next 2 hours in the museum gift shop. The priorities are a perfect summary of our cultural appreciation. 97. The sheer indignation when a restaurant doesn't take American Express is a sight to behold. We treat our credit cards like religious artifacts and are personally offended when a small Italian trattoria doesn't accept the one with the highest annual fee. The audacity. 98. The act of saving a pool chair at 6 a.m. with a cheap towel and a paperback novel is a sacred ritual. We claim our territory, then disappear for 7 hours, preventing anyone else from enjoying the sun. It's a passive-aggressive act of conquest that defines the resort experience. 99. Our complete inability to pack light is legendary. We will bring 3 different jackets to a desert climate, just in case. The concept of checking the weather forecast before we pack is somehow less logical than just bringing our entire wardrobe with us. 100. We will order a well-done steak in Argentina, a country that has perfected the art of beef. The look of pain and confusion on the chef's face is completely lost on us. We then complain that the resulting piece of leather is a little tough. We did this to ourselves. 101. And the number one dumbest thing? After a vacation filled with complaining about everything that's different, we get home and immediately start planning our next trip to another foreign place. We learn absolutely nothing. The glorious, predictable cycle of American tourism is, and always will be, unbreakable. So there it is. We've given you 101 exhibits, but we know for a fact that this is just the tip of the iceberg. Now it's your turn. We know you have a story that tops everything on this list. So go to the comments and tell us. What is the absolute dumbest, most baffling thing you've ever witnessed an American do on vacation? Don't hold back. We want the stories that made you question the future of humanity. The best story wins. Our eternal respect. If this video made you feel seen, hit the like button. Subscribe, because there's plenty more where that came from.